joining us exclusively is Raytheon's chairman and CEO, Greg Hayes. I like to call him a friend of the show, David. Like that?
I do.
All right, so, Greg, I want to take issue with what the market's doing, and I do that because of my faith in you as a CEO. When you look at stocks that are down, suddenly you have automatic headlines saying that things are worse. And in this case, the headlines were that aerospace is weaker. Now, Greg, may aerospace not be the strongest it's ever been?
If you think about the commercial aerospace markets, right? So they're about 80% of what they were pre-pandemic. That is worldwide traffic. And we see, that recovery is going to continue throughout 2023. Our commercial aftermarket was up 25% last year, 15% in the fourth quarter. So I don't know what weakness anybody's seen, but it certainly looks like everything is marching exactly as we had expected in terms of the recovery.
Yep, right down the middle of the fairway, I would say. Now, we do have a group of people in Congress. They are doves. They want to cut back the military. They seem to think that perhaps we are not in a threatened position. And they're the Republicans. How much should we worry about the idea that the Republicans want you to produce fewer, let's just say, weapons to protect us, maybe even Patriot missiles? Maybe we should be making less of those.
Jim, I think that is a very, very small subset of the Republican Party that thinks we're spending too much on defense. Now, look, the budget has gone up about 10% from 22 to 23 to about a little over $850 billion. But the fact is we're still not producing weapons and systems fast enough to support our allies, both in NATO and in the Indo-Pacific region. So while there may be some talk of a few people that we're spending too much on defense, as I'm out talking to the different commands, whether we're out in the Indo-PACOM or whether we're at the NATO headquarters, everybody is saying we need more. We need more AMRAAMs. We need more Patriots. We need more NASAMS. We need more Javelins, more Stingers. So I think, again, it's just a very vocal minority that's not going to get any traction in Congress.
Oh, okay. One last question before I turn over to Morgan. I had understood that a Patriot missile was not easy to man, and it does require about 100 people to get it right. Very hard to learn. Do you think that the Ukrainians have time to be able to prevent the mass destruction of hospitals, of schools, nursing homes with Patriot missiles, or do you think that it's just too difficult to get them, that our government is afraid about some sort of offensive quality that they don't really have, and they're just too difficult to learn how to use?
So, look, Jim, if anything, we have found that the Ukrainians have been very, very fast learners. We got the NASAM systems in about 6 weeks from the time that it was announced. We had training underway up in Norway. We got the system in place. And incredibly, as we look at the ability of NASAMs to detect and destroy incoming targets, they are at a 100% success rate since we introduced that system. I think Patriot is going to be exactly the same. But unfortunately, Jim, one Patriot system does not defend Ukraine. You need probably 14 or 15 Patriot systems across the country to actually prevent the destruction that you're seeing with the Russian missiles targeting schools and apartment buildings and hospitals. So this is the first step is to get the first cadre trained. That's happening at Fort Sill today. We think that'll be less than 6 months, and then we're going to see how many more we can get trained up and how many more systems that we can work with DoD to deploy in country.